said he was doing some kind of illegal storing up of seeds or whatever. It was just ridiculous. And so they are going to implement that. They're going to try to curtail people from being able to live on their own. And it's like what they're doing here. I mean, they release rattlesnakes and those little wolves. What are they called? To kill off the deer populations.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you know, these things that they're trying to do is curtail any kind of living on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're killing off all the wildlife, so hunters can't go hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to hunt.
Or there's a danger of mad deer disease and other diseases that are communicable to people.
Yeah.
Now, it's...
what they want to do is what they're really kind of trying to do is everybody who takes off in the hills or the woods or whatever, they're just, you know, to starve them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and take their guns. You know, the massive gun push hasn't even taken place here. When they take their guns, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so people got to hang on to their guns. And we've already got, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this national ID card thing.
That's scary that it went through so easily, so quickly.
What's your thoughts on that? Because you know what I think? Every time I see this, I just cringe because, you know, it's not going to start out, it's going to start out as like a regular license type thing with that barcode thing on the back, the magnetic strip with all your info.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be upgraded to include retinal scans and fingerprinting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it gets to that point, I don't think there's a Christian in this country that's going to be able to abide by that, because I would be scared to death knowing that John, you know, was talking about, you know, the forehead and the right hand in Iran. Well, how do we know what that is? We're conditioned to believe it's a chip. What if it's not? What if it's just a mere fingerprinting of the right hand, or putting your forehead up to that machine for the retinal scan?
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
It certainly is.
It's a curveball.
And if you don't have that card, you won't be able to access various government
facilities. But did you hear that it's going to go worldwide? And that's another red flag.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's going to go worldwide and be required in all nations.
Won't be able to travel.
Won't be able to do anything without this card, and so this could very well be something that is coming through the back door nobody expects, that John was warning of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he's trying to look in 2,000 years into the future. And plus, we know through translations we've lost certain meanings and certain words, and some verses were cut off, and you know how it is.
Yes.
So I'm just looking at this whole national ID card. As soon as they do this retinal scan thing, there's no way I won't be driving anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's going to be a lot of people, you know, this whole internal passport system, this whole, you know, we hired that former KGB Primakov official to come over here and design this internal passport system. Bush brought him in years ago to design this whole internal passport thing, and that's what this national ID card thing is. You know, because it came over from the Soviets.
It'll certainly be a moment of decision for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, the Lord hasn't told me anything specifically on it. I don't know if he has anybody else. But it's enough to make my skin curl when I see anything with retinal eye scan or anything with the forehead or right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they were going to do it with the left hand, fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think Christians are going to have to start paying attention. You know, because I think we're farther along, especially if this comes about. You know, some of the things happening that could happen this spring or summer. They even start implementing their agendas here on a more global scale. You know, the entrance of this Matria or Sananda or Jermaine or, you know, whatever card they're going to play. Who's going to win, the Omega freaks or the New World Order freaks?
I agree with you that the time around Passover and the time around the Feast of Trumpets they're both critical times.
Yeah. Yeah, and what date is, do you know what date it is this year, do you, Passover?
I think it's in April this year. I'm not sure. I'd have to check my calendar.
Yeah, these things always jump around.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always kept an eye on Rosh Hashanah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you get ingrained in that in the churches, the Feast of Trumpets.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of important stuff that I've always seen during that time. I've always seen the advent of the Antichrist to take place in the same month, and that same month being where he announces his proclamation, his covenant. And so a lot of people, for the 7-year tribulationists, they think this is the Daniel Treaty.
Mm-hmm.
But it never says Daniel Treaty. I think it just says a covenant. I think when he arrives, he's going to make some kind of covenant with the entire world that he's just going to, you know, it could be this Nasera thing. It might be something totally else. But he's going to have some kind of a proclamation, some kind of a treaty that he's going to announce. You know, trying to make some kind of agreement with those in the world, and whatever that is going to solve all their problems, and the Daniel Treaty would fall right in with that, because, you know, when he says peace, it means that all the nations are at peace. You know, no more warring. And one of the biggest plans, I know you've read the Blue Beam Project stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is to show our real beginnings on video, you know, like one of these 3D screens. Because the aliens, the fallen angels, have taped over the years, throughout all these centuries, everything that's gone on. And so what they're going to do is roll out these tapes and show us the beginning. And of course it's going to be on their terms. You know, and so what they're going to do is show mankind their real origins. And what they're going to do, take us into a lab and show us how they created us in these test tubes. You know, it's going to get ridiculous.
A lot of people will be convinced, though.
And they will, and it says they will be, and then the nations will stop fighting, because when they understand their origins from that point on. I mean, give me a break.
Yes.
But it is going to be good, because a lot of people fall for it. I know there's only a handful of people that listen to this show, or even shows like mine, that even have knowledge of anything coming down the pike.
I think a lot of people, especially Christians, think, well, if one of these things comes along, I may not be able to tell it by Scripture, but by the way I feel. If I have a good feeling toward these people or these entities, they're probably good, and if I'm afraid of them and they seem bad, they're probably evil.
Yeah, well, you can't go by feelings, because they have that fake religious persona about them.
Yeah.
It's like a shield that they can put around them that makes them feel holy and righteous. And so people won't be able to feel evil from them, because they have perfected this fake aura stuff where you can feel righteousness and holy. And so if someone's expecting to go up to one and say, if I feel evil, then I'll know they're evil, they're not going to feel evil. You know, it's going to be very good and deceiving. I mean, how many people are going to know if they come, you know, on earth, start healing people, restoring people's missing limbs on their bodies? They're going to be hailed as messiahs.
Oh, yes.
And they feel good, they look good. You know, it's the words of the prophets are going to be the only things that the people have to hang on to remember the words of the prophets. Because they were the ones who forewarned of this thousands of years ago. It's a third of the Bible prophecy, end-time events. You know, so, yeah, but I know so many millions are going to get fooled by it, because the church is being lulled to sleep. They're already being fooled by the Benny Hinns and the Copelands and the Beast Networks and all these, you know, the Jack Van Impe's and the Hale Lindsays, and expecting all these different scenarios to happen that aren't going to happen. The church is waiting for the EU to step up as the 10-crowned beast, whatever, at the end days. Not going to happen.
I think with the first fruits rapture, it's quite small to begin with, and the United States is a small part of the whole world, population-wise, somewhere around 5 or 6%.
Yeah.
And a rough calculation, if it just went on a equal distribution based on population, there'd only be one person per every 4 or 5 counties.
That's true. Yeah, one out of every 4 or 5 counties that hasn't fallen for all the charades already.
Yes.
The biggest thing right now is how many people actually believe George Bush is a Christian. You know, really filling the right-wing branch. And, you know, the Bible talks about the first beast having a mouth of a dragon and something else, which means religious hypocrisy. Because we all know he's skull and bones. And you can go to propagandamatrix.com or infowars.com and click on skull and bones and just see an earful on him and Kerry. And, you know, but he's got all these secret society affiliations